Sometimes failure doesn't come as one moment. It builds up quietly until everything feels wrong. He tried, but trying no longer felt enough. Everyone seems to move forward, except him. Loneliness can exist even in a crowded place. Even rest feels like avoidance when your mind is overloaded. Focus breaks when pressure becomes too heavy to carry. The world looks like it has direction, just not for him. Sometimes disappointment doesn't hurt instantly. It arrives in silence. Even frustration eventually turns into emptiness. Even after collapse, a new morning still arrives without asking permission. Recovery doesn't start with success. It starts with movement. Control returns not by fixing everything, but by organizing what remains. Focus begins when noise is removed, not when effort increases. The world didn't change, but his eyes started to notice it again. When chaos fades, even knowledge feels reachable again. Progress is not speed. It is consistency without quitting. Breaks are no longer escape. They become balance. The body heals the mind when it is allowed to move. Consistency begins quietly, long before results appear. Focus is not perfect attention. It is returning after distraction. Understanding grows from repetition, not pressure. He no longer measures himself against others, only against yesterday. Attention becomes strength when it is trained daily. Discipline is staying when motivation disappears. Progress feels small until it starts to accumulate. Success doesn't always feel loud. Sometimes it feels like relief. He is no longer surviving each day. He is building it. He didn't become perfect. He became consistent. When discipline becomes natural, effort stops feeling like suffering. Time stops controlling him when focus takes over.
Of Corfrey.
Now, let's look at this diagram. Excuse me, Professor, could you explain the vector field again? Growth is not change overnight. It is visible improvement over time. Together, the solution is easier.
That makes sense.
Yes, we can figure it out. Rest is no longer escape. It is recovery. Criticism becomes useful when ego is no longer in control. Environment begins to reflect the mind. that is healing. Completion feels different when it is earned step by step. He is no longer trying to escape failure. He is learning how to move through it. Real change is not loud. It is seen in how you start your morning without resistance. Focus is not intensity. It is the ability to stay when distraction is right next to you. Understanding grows when attention stops breaking every few seconds. Knowledge becomes yours only when you slow down enough to absorb it. Confidence is not being faster than others. It is no longer feeling behind. Progress multiplies when knowledge is shared instead of hidden. Discipline is not never stopping. It is always returning after a pause. Pressure does not disappear, but your reaction to it changes everything. Success is no longer emotional chaos. It becomes quiet acknowledgement. He is not chasing who he used to be. He is building who he is becoming. Efficiency is born from repetition, not pressure. Fear fades when preparation replaces uncertainty. Mistakes are no longer failures. They are instructions. Respect is earned quietly through consistency. Your body follows the discipline your mind builds. Focus is the ability to ignore everything that is not your direction. The same pressure, feels different when your preparation is complete. Growth is not excitement. It is quiet confirmation. He didn't become perfect. He became someone who never stops moving forward. Sometimes growth is not about learning more, but finally seeing what you always ignored. Everything starts to connect when confusion finally breaks apart. Improvement doesn't always feel like victory. Sometimes it feels like silence. Pressure no longer stops him. It becomes part of the environment. True strength is when your mind stays clear, even in silence. This is the moment everything leads to, but nothing controls anymore. When preparation becomes complete, fear has nowhere left to stand. Time moves fast, but he no longer loses himself inside it. The outcome matters, but not as much as who he became to reach it. He didn't escape failure. He learned how to walk through it without disappearing.